You might have missed it, but amidst the glitz and glamour of the recent high-profile releases like Mission Impossible, Barbie, and Oppenheimer, a much more intriguing event went almost unnoticed in the Western film scene. A movie with barely any advance publicity managed to captivate fans in Japan, leading to long queues around the block and taking an impressive $17.5 million box office in its opening week. How Do You Live is a new anime from Studio Ghibli, the acclaimed Japanese animation studio behind Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, and My Neighbor Totoro, and the animation legend Hayao Miyazaki's final film. Studio Ghibli has chosen an unorthodox marketing strategy. No marketing at all. There will be no trailer, plot summary, cast list, or promotional materials, except for a poster that has been released last year. It shows a crayon sketch of what was surmised to be a blue and white heron. It's not much to go on, but it hasn't stopped fan artists from taking their best and weirdest guesses at what's going to happen in this movie. Studio Ghibli's strategy is fascinating because it's so different from the usual modern movie marketing practices. But this strategy is very much in line with Studio Ghibli's controlled approach to merchandising and marketing. Unlike other studios that often release an upward of 3 trailers for a movie, they kept the marketing minimal, avoiding the risk of spoiling the movie before it even hits theaters.
Forgive me for arriving too soon and spoiling the surprise.
It's like they're playing by their own rules, and I find that really intriguing. This approach of less is more can also be seen inside Hayao Miyazaki's animation too. Take for example this scene from Spirited Away. For 3 minutes, 28 shots, and more than 1,000 frames of hand-painted animation, this train ride has virtually no concrete objectives, no dialogues, and no conflicts. We're just invited to just think and feel with our hero. Miyazaki has a word for these moments, ma, and they can be found not only across scenes, but in the most inconsequential of actions. Ma is the space between two things, a pause, a gap, or as Miyazaki explains it, clap your hands. Ma is the time between your clapping. Because if you just have non-stop action with no breathing space at all, says Miyazaki, it's just busyness. But if you take a moment, he says, then the tension building in the film can grow into a wider dimension. If you just have constant tension at 80 degrees all the time, you just get numb. And this is exactly what Studio Ghibli has done with the marketing of their new movie. Studio Ghibli's producer, Toshio Suzuki, expressed his dissatisfaction with the excessive marketing materials flooding Hollywood. He went as far as to criticize an unnamed film that released 3 trailers, arguing that they gave away too much, leaving little surprise for moviegoers. And so he decided to go in the opposite direction with no marketing at all, stating that in the age of information, the lack of information itself can be entertaining. For now, the film has only been released in Japan, and the US release will be a couple of months later. It will also be titled The Boy and the Heron for audiences outside of Japan. Speaking of Japan, this channel is based in Japan, and if you ever plan on visiting the country, do check out a project that I've been personally working on. It's a website called Lens Tokyo, where you can buy a travel guide with more than 100 photography spots in Tokyo. Like this, and this, including a spot for the famous Ghibli clock. Many of them are spots that are hidden and places you won't find anywhere else on the internet. The guide covers each spot with reference images, transit directions, photography tips, and details of each location. I'll keep a link in the description for anyone who plans on visiting Japan. Now back to the topic. How did we end up in a situation where modern movies hit us with 3 or more trailers, pushing us to watch the film, to the point where these trailers give away so much that they practically spoiled the whole movie? In the early days of cinema, movies themselves were the main attraction. People bought tickets just to see pictures move on a screen. As the film industry matured, film studios and distributors were faced with greater competition and needed to find ways to persuade people to see their film instead of somebody else's. That's where marketing comes in. In the 1910s, the studios that made films noticed that more people bought tickets for movies starring actors like Florence Lawrence, Mary Pickford, and Lillian Gish, so they began to market their films based on these new celebrities, giving rise to the star system. Celebrities can be deployed to talk shows, feature in magazine spreads, take part in press events, and leverage their social media to amplify buzz. But as flashy as the star system is, in many ways, the cornerstone of film marketing is the poster or one sheet. Whether these posters capture an iconic film image or feature its prominent actors, they serve as graphic representations that can be adapted for print ads, billboards, or theater displays. The best posters represent a movie in a single powerful image. Think of the shark rising up toward the swimmer on the Jaws poster, or the moth over Jodie Foster's mouth from The Silence of the Lambs. Trailers, or previews, were another innovation in early film marketing. Initially, they appeared at the end of serials or short films, giving audiences a glimpse of the upcoming episode. As feature films became popular, trailers evolved to showcase famous actors' highlights, accompanied by title cards or narrators extolling the movie's greatness. During the 1970s, a big change came to Hollywood marketing. In the past, the marketing departments of major movie studios began their work after a film was done. However, by the 1980s, with major studios being acquired by multinational corporations, marketing professionals began influencing film development early on. And by the mid-1980s, the in-house marketing departments of places like Paramount and Warner Brothers began weighing in on which films should actually get made. Studios like Marvel have taken this to a whole new level, staking out release dates and creating promotional material for movies before they've developed a script, hired actors, or even picked a director. Until around 2010, film marketing used to cost about an additional quarter to a half of a film's budget. So if you've made a movie for $100 million, you might have had to spend another $50 million to make sure people know it's coming out. But today, the numbers have almost changed places, and many studios are spending more money on marketing the films than actually on the production. Barbie, for example, spent $146 million for the production of the movie, and a whopping $150 million on just the marketing. The rise of the internet has made it increasingly difficult to get the attention of consumers. To get the target audience's attention, film marketing had to evolve to become more attention-grabbing and engaging. The internet also enabled marketing to target specific audiences at a fraction of the cost. This transformed the industry's approach, allowing not only precise audience targeting, but also the potential to flood audiences with movie advertisements, which is why we're constantly swamped by movie ads. And the reason why Studio Ghibli's daring marketing approach of relying on just a single poster stands out as a bold move. However, it's important to recognize that this situation is unique, given Studio Ghibli's established cultural influence and past achievements. And not all movie releases could benefit from such limited marketing. And while entertainment is one of the few industries where revealing less can enhance the consumer experience, it's worth considering how this strategy might apply to other businesses. This method of promoting a product is called anti-marketing. It's a marketing strategy that involves intentionally rejecting or subverting marketing tactics and instead makes fun of traditional advertising with a tone of self-awareness. You could call this the art of selling without selling. Anti-marketing works because people hate ads. Ads tend to exaggerate a lot. Ads are literally everywhere. So what if instead of working against those feelings, we can work with and for them? Let's be honest, people hate ads. The barrage of dramatically embellished campaigns, overpromising social media posts, and sneaky selling tactics that tell us what to buy and how to live our lives. Many of today's brand's messages are both disruptive and deceptive, but hearing an ad acknowledge its flaws is refreshing. Anti-marketing cuts through the clutter, causing customers to double take when they would normally just gloss over. In 2019, Doritos launched an ad campaign called Another Level, which features no logo or brand name. The campaign consists of a YouTube video showing plain chip bags and the triangular-shaped snack itself. The idea behind the ad was that Doritos is iconic enough that it doesn't need to have a label on its bag or even a logo. The purpose of the campaign was to reach a generation that is not a fan of ads. Rachel Ferdinando, senior president of marketing at Frito-Lay, stated, "There's a desire to almost reject traditional advertising, and newer generations are increasingly turned off by blatant promotional marketing." Marmite, for those who don't know, is a dark, sticky goo made from yeast. It's generally spread on buttered toast and mainly consumed in England. While some adore the food, others have developed a personal vendetta against it. So Marmite came up with an anti-marketing campaign which capitalized on the polarizing effect of its product. Rather than convincing customers of its benefits, Marmite openly advertised the fact that some people simply cannot stand it. They split its corporate website into two sites, one for those who love it and another for those who hate it. They even created a funny Facebook page called Hate Marmite for people to trash talk about their own product. The results were remarkable. Reactions poured in from both sides, creating an enormous buzz for Marmite. Dating app Hinge differentiates itself from competitors Tinder and Bumble by designing the app to be deleted. Unlike Tinder, which has a game-like effect that keeps the user hooked to the application and keeps swiping until they hit their daily free limit, Hinge focuses on people building meaningful relationships, finding the right one, and then deleting the app. This anti-marketing approach of promoting the deletion of its own app sets Hinge apart, helping it carve a niche and gain traction. Another example of anti-marketing is Sprite's commercial starring basketball legend LeBron James. In it, Sprite openly addresses the issue they aim to tackle. People dislike being told what to do, especially by ads. LeBron candidly reveals the various tactics they'll employ to influence viewers into choosing Sprite.
And even if all these cool influencer people were holding one, I still wouldn't tell you to drink a cool, crisp, refreshing lemon lime Sprite.
By acknowledging all the sales tactics they use and the frustrations people have with advertising, the audience is much more receptive to the notion that Sprite isn't selling them or telling them what to do. When it comes to consumers, trust is the currency. Marketing should serve the product or service, not just make blatant statements about them. It's about being authentic and providing real value. And although anti-marketing strategies can be effective, they may not be suitable for all businesses or industries. The success of anti-marketing lies in its ability to align with the brand's identity and resonate with the target audience. When done right, anti-marketing builds trust between consumers and marketers by being honest about ideas that everyone already knows. We have another video about brand recognition and unconventional marketing strategies, which you can watch here. And if you found this video educational or interesting, let me know by commenting. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more business-related videos.